The Void. Series 1, Episode 4, The Fillim Perspective, by Richard Marcus Powell. Chapter 2. The Liberator's Alpha hangar was filled with transport shuttles as the teams prepared to travel to the surface of Degon Alpha. Carter had been given a full tour of the ship as part of his induction, but the scale of it still startled him. It was certainly big enough to hold smaller naval ship classes, and then there were all the bays scattered around the hangar, automated housings for the complement of ships. "We've got every ship we need lined up in here, and we've still got plenty of room to spare," he commented. "Is this your first time in the hangar, human Carter Vincent?" Dr. Lux Pang asked as they stepped out of the park. No, it's my second time here," Carter answered. "Just unnerving how big it is." "Liberator is big by human standard, but other species have bigger," Lux commented. "Wait until you self-see Zanshi ship." "Are we comparing ship sizes?" Carter smirked. "I do not understand the context of question." Carter knew that he was going to do a lot of explaining. This was part of his new job, but he kept forgetting just how frequently he was going to need to do it. It was easy enough to forget just how context-sensitive everything was. "It's human humor, Doctor," Carter began. "We have a habit of comparing as a means of asserting dominance. Comparing ship sizes is a metaphor for this." "Yes, Self remembers this," Lux mused, whistling in abstract sequences. "Amusing, similar to Fillim third gender, but largely seen as ridiculous now." "We do as well, I guess. Well, most of the time," Carter explained. "But it still comes into play sometimes. Sometimes we understand your species' humor, and sometimes it seems out of place," Lux added. "Context can be difficult to read." "Honestly, it can be for us too. Imagine the difficulty for ourselves then." "Good point," Carter admitted. "You want me to give a signal when I make a joke or humorous reference?" "That would be helpful, human Carter Vincent." "Okay, if I wink at you like this," Carter explained, winking cheekily, "and then push out my elbow like this, that's me indicating I've just said something humorous. We call that a nudgewink." "Is that a common human expression?" Lux queried. "Self does not believe Self has seen it before." "It was a way of indicating humor in my time at least," Carter explained. "I don't know if it's still the case now. I doubt it, though." "Yes. You Self were the human who was in stasis for millennia," Lux realized. 2,000 years, Carter sighed. "Humans then didn't get beyond home planet, correct?" "Yeah, we thought we were pretty smart," Carter observed. "I look at it now and realize how dumb we actually were." "That is a realization most humans don't reach, human Carter Vincent," Lux praised. "Wisdom comes from realization that you Self know very little." "I must be the wisest person on the ship then," Carter joked, performing a nudge-wink maneuver. "Ah, I understand." Lux emitted a shrill whistle that was a little hard for Carter's ears. "I hope that was you laughing." It was. It was difficult for Carter to keep talking to Lux as they were moving. Lux's spinning form of locomotion on his 3 legs made it difficult for him to focus on a specific part of his face. Lux had a single compound eye that wrapped around the circumference of what Carter thought of as his head. Effectively, because of his symmetry, the whole circumference was his face, not just one side. Whereas humans had bilateral symmetry, giving them a distinct front and back, Fillim had a trilateral symmetry, with no distinct front and back. This trilateral symmetry was essential for their spinning, and it made the movement far more graceful than Carter could have ever imagined. Their agility was enhanced by their configuration of 3 arms and 3 legs, jointed around the vertical axis, but able to swivel around quite freely. Carter had to admit that being so close to something so alien was unnerving, but he was surprised at how well he was handling it. "You're getting along with Dr. Lux Pang then?" Denham commented, sweeping in from the side. "Yeah, I think once you get over the initial shock of meeting a xeno, it's not so bad," Carter expressed. "Definitely weird, and understanding can be a chore, but it's definitely interesting." "I'm glad you're adapting so well. You're going to need that open-mindedness when you meet Dr. Nevon, who watches with patience." Do all the xenos have such odd naming conventions? Ask Dr. Lux Pang for his Fillim name, Denham pointed out. Lux Pang is what he thought we could cope with. They reached the central meeting point and gathered together with the main group. Carter could hear some chirping, along with something that sounded like little panpipes. There was something heavy moving around behind the shuttle in front of him. He could feel the thud of its feet, but he couldn't see it. Then it stepped around from behind the shuttle. The beast was around 10 foot tall and had a similar body structure he recognized from films he watched. It's a velociraptor! That, Mr. Vincent, is a Makeen. That is our Dr. Nevon, who watches with patience. Denham corrected. It may look a little like one, but it's definitely not a dinosaur. Looks like one to me. The Makeen had a bulky, muscular body orientated on the horizontal plane. The head was quite lizard-like, but the skin was less scaly and more human-like, being a contiguous layer covered in pores. The mouth was huge, containing many serrated teeth capable of rendering flesh with ease. The lower jaw was divided with 3 separate sections that could operate independently, giving it a flexibility that no dinosaur could have managed. The head also possessed 3 eyes, 2 facing part forwards and part sideways, and the third facing directly forward. This gave the creature a wide panorama and excellent depth perception. From the middle of the skull was a ridge that seemed to radiate outwards at the back of the skull, forming 5 hollow horns. Carter could see the creature had 6 limbs as well. The rear 2 were massive muscular legs and the center of gravity for it. The middle 2 were clawed arms, less muscular but much more flexible. The claws themselves were unusual, being jointed in such a way to allow a great deal of movement, making them excellent grasping and manipulating tools. The front 2 arms were barely visible, being folded up against the chest. They were long and jointed in a way that allowed them to fold into a minimal space against their chest. It looked as if they had evolved to help manipulate food, holding it steady for those massive jaws. It was quite a colorful creature as well, with the skin possessing a multitude of colors, from green to pink to yellow, all arranged in a dazzling pattern that would have helped with camouflage. In addition to this, there was extensive tattooing across the body, and Carter was sure he could make out nipples on its underside, which would have suggested a creature that suckles its young. The Makeen's back was covered with something that looked like plates that fit together like jigsaw puzzles. What their purpose was, Carter couldn't fathom, but they did form a continuous line along the spine, if it did indeed possess a spine. The tail was long and used for balance, but the end had some form of barbed structure. It didn't look like a poison delivery system, but it did look like it could deliver a nasty strike. The Makeen was all predator, powerful, intimidating, and weaponized. It started squawking in a manner not unlike a bird, the squawks accompanied by panpipe sounds that Carter realized was coming from the horns on the back of its head. The words it spoke made themselves known as the Babel implant started to translate. I am Dr. Nevon, who watches with patience. I am pleased to see so many humans keen to preserve an ecosystem, and I thank the Republic for acceding to our request to take a more progressive approach to colonization, the Makeen announced. For so many cycles, the Makeen despaired of the humans and the planets they defiled, but this new appreciation for the environment has given us hope. Carter was having a hard time understanding how such a bestial creature could be so erudite. For a while now, we have been liaising with the Republic, acting as advisors and working with humanity to develop environmentally friendly technologies, and we have been pleased with the progress so far. I hope our collaboration here will bear similar fruit. Doctor, we appreciate you traveling all this distance to assist with this survey, Denham thanked. To the Makeen, nothing is more important than the ecosystems of the universe, and when we find a similar enthusiasm in another species, we will do all we can to encourage it, the doctor responded. Thank me by continuing this trend. It is our intention, Denham smiled. Now, if we are all ready, we should divide up into our teams and start our individual missions. The group started to move around, locating their teammates in appropriate shuttle. "Dr. Lux Pang, are you with us?" Carter asked. "Yes. Self was assigned to you self-team so that we selves may converse. Dr. Nevon, who watches with patience, would you care to join our team?" Denham asked. "I would be privileged." Carter shot Denham a disapproving glance. "This is what you're here for, Mr. Vincent," Denham shot back with a sly nod, "to get to know all the different cultures." Carter realized that the doctor did indeed have a sense of humor. "Don't worry, I'll look after you," he announced quietly. "Just try to not look like prey." "Very funny, Doc." The humongous Makeen trotted over to where they stood, the ground vibrating with every footstep. "Doctor, you know Dr. Lux Pang. This is Dr. Rachel Verlaine, and this is Mr. Carter Vincent, our new cultural advisor." "Ah, yes, the man out of time," Nevon noted. "I read your profile on the way here. How are you finding the future?" "It's been quite an upheaval," Carter understated. "Every time I think I'm starting to get a handle of things, something new comes along that shakes things up entirely." "Your first time meeting one of my kind, then?" "Yeah." "I know I must appear terrifying to you, but don't worry. I don't bite." He could see Denham smirking at his unease. "I'm very glad to hear that." "Will you be coming in our shuttle?" "I don't think I'll fit in there. I'll use my own ship." "Okay then, we'll meet you down there." Dr. Nevon, who watches with patience, strode off towards her own ship. "Friend, that was a nudgewink moment, was it not?" Dr. Lux Pang observed. "Yes, it was," Carter replied. "Not from my point of view, though."